Abom ana esibo so ewo GS. Haruna Iddrisu so no nya magic. Obia we issue nko blemu ato Forson. People are taking the comment somewhere but how the different view. Medrin say parliament. Eso mu probi GS. Because you see in common na eba no. Amanfo ntia say no me teasy. People didn't get it. And omanya careful. This issue will bring a lot of problems for the NDC. Yebeko NDC manifesto nim, you promise teachers. And then you course see about 2 weeks ago, conversation beginning or X Twitter. I'm a senior college munya kaso mu true petition crack come press on by serious expose to expose the genius name be a warrior. Now I'll build a background story for you and why I made them a dream say they may cancel and reduce about make ministers as a dream say ministry ni say be ono no ntiase and answer they are not able to communicate well. Na teacher for ne bufuofu no o de wa akọ Facebook na akọbọ GS say na bia akọ Facebook akọ hwe YouTube say to no kind comment no e bia agimensem na me presentation am the comment ni be betoto nchen ama and from a month ago and almost started say omo mame complaint Eugene Kebima. So before we go on the video on this channel me about teachers necessary I hold them dear to my heart into Mr. Me ya wadwen say me beka bia ma ba in fact the evidence I have on me bo aban baso a enye yie ti ase sa ansa ne ko video nim in the video we na ene de eye me ne President Mahama ye mungamu because the back stops with the leader o ma do me like ka me yempo ho galam say na mamo ti ene within the week minya me no ma sama ku tributes na be se minim omo chichire ne ma etia intino minya me full voice ni light na me yama mo ba teacher for de ni nyame ti be do adwuma na some pack na me yama mo on internet pema some teacher for make sure so be subscribe mo subscribe na click bell notification me the video be etu abehu no wetimi ahwebu wi a you will certainly have a comment. Feel free leave that comment in the comments section. Make sure so be GoldBerry Construction Limited do na episode sin wasasen kratasem the documentation related to your house no GoldBerry and a bit this age man na ediama wi a obrempomba e wo ho addiction related issue trauma related issue aged care obrempomba obehwe na bibia kama ediama. Let's start in it this way. In the NDC manifesto they made promises to teachers on which the teachers student to vote for the NDC. And my catch was a manifestos are social contract. Now we go through manifesto now. Among other things, some can say they will introduce legislation to streamline and regulate awarding of government scholarships and prohibit the award of scholarships to political appointees. Halt the collateralization of get fund and restore it to original mandate of education financing. Establish a national research fund to support and promote indigenous and commercialized research. Abolish the teacher training licensure exam and integrate the licensure process into the final year exams of trainees. I know they are yet to achieve. They started the processes. Scrap the MPP's mandatory national service policy for teachers, trainee, graduates, and ensure the prompt employment of newly recruited teachers. TNE. They will scrap national service for teachers. I'm told that is still happening. We teacher nina meboa. Eugene obwa. Me kapo nimo. Minimu ni problem crab. Be catch them. And what? Promptly. Na se ahunhareso. Employ newly qualified teachers. Or say prioritize the timely promotion of teachers and ensure availability of funds for their remuneration. The last one comes to use fraud or koso. Ya jiji sika. In fact, to go Facebook abe hu MP. Now assign teachers. Abi a ye process near the ama teacher for. Omu post pictures nibi. Oko northern region. Say. Nam se monto mobo. Mini evidence. Me busa monswa. Papers na mo de ba. Me de ba. Sa me de be video nye yi. Etunim. Enra. No Monday na Wednesday. Ana yera. Haruna echo interview Bernard ho na Bernard pem no say yes fraud e koso ne ye jeje nkura ni sika feedback nye ene ade Haruna Iddrisu kasai tie
Couple of questions. Ghana's TVET upload glitches. A listener says applicants uploaded their certificates, even new ones, but the portal falsely claims no certificate uploaded to reject them. 2. GES portal tactics. Opening and closing the portal within 24 hours was pure elimination by rough tactics for thousands of qualified youth.
Not really.
And then he says qualified people get rejected with zero tangible reasons given, and that there's no transparency. This is a listener who's concerned about the portals and the
Bernard. I currently have financial clearance from the Minister for Finance to recruit up to 7,000 teachers.
Okay.
I have application within 24 hours at over 40,000. What can you do? I don't have the magic one. 40,000 for 7,000 vacancies. That's a real problem. And I have said that nationally, we would need between 50 to 90,000 teachers if we were to fill the deficit. But don't forget, our economy has what it can absorb per our compensation budget. All of it cannot be given for teacher recruitment. There are nurses that you have to recruit, the other public servants that you have to recruit. So there are limitations. Now I can understand the fire that have come on in the last 24 hours. When we get to the 7,000, there is very little I can do. What we will do, and I'm consulting with the Director General of GES and my team, is to announce for the recruitment of the second cohort of 8,000 teachers, but they would start work somewhere April 2027. But they must get it right. I'll get the advert open because the president at Peki announced that, look, we can stagger recruitment of 16,000 teachers in 2 phases of 8,000, 8,000. So you get 8,000 first quarter of 2027. Then before the end of the year, you start another 8,000. That will reduce the
Why
burden
can't you make a
on
case for finance minister to
I
spend
made,
more
I
on
made,
education
I
because
made the
of
case
its
for
multiplier
50,000
effect?
teachers.
And it's giving you 7,000.
Then it then became that you are not honoring your word, you are not sincere. But I justified that I wanted to.
You need 50,000 teachers.
Yes, I made a case
and
before
he's
the
giving you 7,000 for this year.
And I got only 7,000. So that's the challenge.
There's a criticism that your government is squeezing spending on essential things to keep the numbers good. So he was telling us 3 days ago, the expenditure we spent below,
yes,
the deficit has reduced. So the economy looks good on paper, but there's a complaint. Indeed, minority leader complained, and he was pointing to the backbenchers that you don't have any money. Government cannot recruit. I mean, let's deal with that, right?
I do not see how any opposition or minority leader will give a favorable consideration to a budget statement presented by government. That's natural.
Okay.
But the moral errantry to question the budget by the minority, clearly unacceptable. I think that for the first time in many years, the Minister for Finance at Forson was forthright, thorough, complete, and sincere. What was the state of the economy as President Mahama assumed office in January 2025 compared to the state of the economy today? So even if you borrow the words of Bawumia, the fundamentals of the economy. So let's go. If the fundamentals of the economy is measured in inflation, what was the state of inflation from 53 to 24? Is that the case today? 5.8, maximum 8%. So it means that the fundamentals in respect of inflation has improved. Debt to GDP was over 70% of GDP. If it is now between 48 and 51%, it means GDP has improved. But more importantly, is the amount of money and colossal amount of money you spend servicing debt. That has eased, and that becomes advantage for government to use it for other infrastructure initiatives, including education, no longer on debt service. Was Ghana able to be accepted after it's been declared junk? You could access the international capital market. We are almost there. So compare that fundamental between 2024 and yesterday as President Mahama and Atu Forson navigate the economy. What I will accept as an objective, constructive criticism of the economy is, has it spurred growth in a way that it has created jobs and address unemployment? That I would favorably accommodate. That we need to go beyond stability to create opportunities.
Yes. Meba Haruna Iddrisu dia no so dia no nkotwere wo. Now, enra ana release ba na mbetse. People didn't understand. Let me explain. GS had the letter by on the 25th. Are they better 25th? There's a teacher phone check on applying. Let's not forget that. Slaughter by near 7,000. Nipe apply by catcher 40,000. That time, my sources within the education as that cat UG abroad 40 year cost 60,000. And you tell me this also compare slot for saying 50,000. Let's even take the figure 50,000. It's the first 7,000. Next, I 43,000 heading. e wachiri ana 7,000 buy afie kwa wiam som sa be fa 8,000 to fa 8,000 15,000 kwa na 50 man 35,000 no mo ka jem say you dia obe 3 4 2 3 badges e wo fie tie ni you 87,000 buy you mo apply no. Then the government through GS told them to go and check omo koya Nicodemously Opa Genius Facebook page. They never mentioned 25 Ghana cedis on Betua. And on which teacher for 25 cedis. Maminchine Mohakakra. The 25 cedi voucher they are selling to the teachers. No, I say Oko check what CDBC results are 25 cedis and not 10 cedis. I didn't check it three. Where the V1s. V1s. You can only access the platform once to check anything there. The next time you want to access, you have to pay again 25 cedis. No they update by say, oh, the teachers can go on their portal. Then they see so buwebo. With the wako GS. Make us send me description better so. Wako GS Facebook portal na ko he. Teacher for the book for fu. Na ne two ma come cry he. Press statement ne ba no. Kind the first paragraph no. Ma me nko kan ma me ko share on my Facebook post. Let me just read the first paragraph for you. Or say, management of the Ghana Education wishes to inform all applicants that securing recruitment into the service is and remain free. So, on can't wait to now, with all that I've told you, with all the comments I've projected for you, 4 questions come into mind. And why President Mahama must probe GES. Before you go to the question, I don't blame Forson. I'm saying Forson, Haruna Iddrisu. I don't know photo sample. Mean to me for 50,000, meet me for 7,000. Later, mama 8,000, so 15,000. On beginning, almost 8,000 be beginning of 2027. Education Minister cannot do anything. He is the Minister of the Exchequer, and based on the numbers he's seeing, that is the numbers he can employ. So the question there is in that when the NDC was drafting the manifesto, in fact, they used the term. You see, the time call manifesto, and they say people will say automatic posting. Omo kano, ebrom koye winiba. Said lunch, yes, there are videos to that. So the question is that when they were drafting the manifesto, they didn't know this. That's the first observation. They didn't know this, that it will be a challenge for them. 2, public service. And they want to attractive amount for and what you promise, I say buying a man and Nichols. I promise you, young Crawford, so they are school no. When you even abolish the teacher trainee allowances, people were still going to school. Now, Mr. Student in any case, 1. A year day, and will be a school 2023. My screenshot, a brand TB. And then evidence-based analysis. I don't want to conjecture. I don't want to do anything, and people accuse me of anything. Will you to promise or say, please, someone should help me with the recruitment issue. GS is messing up with my mental health. I want to be employed 4 years in college, a year doing national service, 2 years at home. It's not easy. See, in recruitment, MPP crowd was on Sana no more say. Why will we 2020? Yeah, how we? Yeah, 2021. Yeah, 2021. We yeah, 2022. Why is the current GES director in the boss here Haruna Iddrisu say ye tuni ni afras obi owie 2024 obi owie 2023 obi owie 2025 omu nyina ye tu omu nyina afras obi apply for the 7,000 slot. What went into the decision to lump everything together? That's the first question. What made them change the status quo? That we will serve one batch, we move on to the next batch, we move on to the preceding batch. What made them come to the conclusion that we are lumping everything together for all of them to fight for the 7,000 slot? That is 1. 2. In all the press statements of G, they never mentioned 25. You know why? Makachi was a president to throw an advice to ministers to take the necessary steps. They always want to remove their liabilities, right? Who are GES? Okay, for teachers, prospecting teachers to pay 25 cedis at every instance they go on the platform. Can they do that to doctors? Mumu teachers. Clandestine. Who gave them the okay to charge the 25 cedis at every access of the platform? Comment in the group and you do it too. And I've made calls and it's true too. Why are they charging the 25 cedis? For what? So the first question is that what made them do what they did, the style that they approached? 2, what made them say that they are charging 25 Ghana cedis? In the NDC manifesto, they promised that they would decentralize the appointment of the teachers. That's the third question. So the third question is, what changed from the manifesto promise that we will decentralize and now they are doing the national? Then the fourth and most important point for me, if you have a pool of 40,000, what criteria are they using to pick the 7,000? Why am I asking this fourth question? This is the reason. And now TV3, Coalition of Colleges of Education of Teachers, almost say our numbers on my picking is 85% of our members are apply of the College of Education. About 85% of my members. So the question I'm asking, the fourth question is that who will NIPA 5? Also will for 2. What criteria are we using? What criteria is you just say to me qualify? Oh, you the BM foul, yafa adwa, yafa kofi. What criteria the GES using? So 4 questions. You promise a decentralization of recruitment of teachers. Why are we now doing a national scale? There was a slot for 7,000. 40,000 applied according to the minister and your own data. What algorithm, what systems, what criteria did you use to disqualify other people and use to qualify other people? 3, why are you charging 25 cedis and you Nicodemusly never mention in any of your public presses of the 25 cedis? But when you go to the portal, the link requires you to buy a voucher of 25 cedis and apply. What went into the determination of the 25 cedis? Who is taking that money? And how are they taking that money? This is why Parliament must investigate. Because you see, remember, next funny a couple on weekend, so more demonstration, so and then the videos be brave. But you see, the question is that why do you always treat teachers like this? I've never understood it. Your batch 2021, 2022. It's clear. Now, also what to Afra, Obi and Kobi. How did you come to that dynamic? And people feel that I've been on for 3 years. Because more person with them on crop for bettership. And that's the view of people. And they always say that when you do these things and there's that seeming lack of transparency, you give people room to speculate. You give people room to say all of these things. That's why I'm asking these questions. 4 questions. And GES must come and tell us because it's a government entity. And my mom, me say inform teachers association. Them man pick here now your page. All these comments I picked are from the pages of them. And it's not nice. And it's not nice. They were introduced to financing form. And the professor at GES, well, I'll wait for Austin to bring out the expose that they are doing. The amount of money these people are mentioning. They just want to serve their country. They just want to work. Menkasa are buying phobia at a given time. That's why I said I agree. They cannot employ everybody at every given time. But along the process, let the process be fair. Communicate to them with candor. And sign you musika. Will be so torture. The comments I posted all of them through the videos. 75 cedi say, yes, sir, almost the yaobi. And a bad, you know. Let's find a way to always address this nursing and teacher recruitment with some civility and respect. Almost some district officers cry. The way I knew kasa. Onya salary issue no kwa. As will be informed ho. We able post to me 1-2 years. No mu pay my. Na kwa demonstration baby. They are not children of a lesser God. Let's treat them with respect. We teach here for our experience, bra. Subscribe and click the bell notification. Me the video we are to be 100 smash. So we show you the mama me here Ghana so here. Bye bye.